A kid named Josh decides to prove that a funhouse isn't haunted by stealing the nose of the clown who is supposed to haunt the place.
This is Ryan.
And this is Ashley.
And this is Ruining Our Childhood. Presents Are We Still Afraid of the Dark?
Yes. Did you forget what podcast we were doing there for a second?
No. Because on the regular one, I'm all like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. On this one, I'm like, hello.
We're trying to set the mood.
Yes.
Just close your eyes and pretend you're in a forest.
Around a campfire.
Yeah. And you're hanging out with your buddies.
Yeah.
Listening to supposed scary stories.
Supposed.
Yeah. My name's Ashley.
This is Ryan.
This is our second episode ever of Are We Still Afraid of the Dark?
A podcast where we go back through and rewatch Are You Still? Or no, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
It's not
Are You Still?
No. That's the title of our podcast. And it's Are We?
Were you afraid of the dark as a kid?
Like, literally?
Yeah.
Yes.
Same.
Terrified.
Same.
I think I had a nightlight for a while, but then, you just have to get over it.
No, I definitely had a nightlight.
I'm still afraid of the dark.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
There was times where Ryan used to work overnights, and I would have on every light in the house pretty much until I went to bed, and then I would turn them all off in order so I didn't have to walk through the house in the dark, and then I would run to the bedroom, lock the door, and then turn off that light.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were like 25 when that was going on.
No, I was like yesterday.
That was last weekend.
No. Even when you went out of town like 2 years ago, I just don't like being by myself.
Yeah.
At night. That's when all the people get murdered.
Touche. And it's like nowadays you'll see Ring videos.
Yeah.
Where some creep's licking a doorknob.
Yeah.
At 3 a.m. It's just...
That's unsettling.
Yeah. Very unsettling.
That's the best way to put it. Anyway.
Yeah.
So today we're doing the second episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Mm-hmm.
The Tale of the Laughing... The Tale of Laughing in the Dark.
Yes.
Which, if you like to laugh in the dark, you might be a weirdo. Or really high.
Well, it does center around a clown.
It does.
Which is kind of creepy.
Clowns are creepy.
Yeah.
I will say, and we've said it before in this podcast, that it was one of our first scary movies as children. For me, it was.
Yeah.
And Pennywise, set the bar for clowns.
Definitely.
For creepy clowns. And
that's a fear that I have never gotten over to this day. I'm not afraid of them. I just don't like them.
You're like, I don't go to places where they are.
Exactly. Like if I saw a clown dressed up at a kid's party, I'm not going to run away scared.
Yeah.
But in the back of my head, I'm going to be like, is that John Wayne Gacy? Who knows?
Well, John Wayne Gacy is dead.
But it could be, a copycat.
Or a ghost, like in this movie.
Touche.
Or show. I don't even know what we're doing.
Show.
In this episode.
Yes.
So, do you want to start with our first category?
Yeah. Our first category is called Well, Hello There, where we talk about any famous or recognizable actors that we didn't know were in the episode of this show. Who did you notice? Because I didn't notice anyone.
Yeah, none of the kids looked familiar. I kind of looked them up. They weren't anybody that I recognized. The only person I put down was Aaron Tagger.
Yes.
Which is the Carney / Zebo, spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also Dr. Vink in the first episode.
Yes. And he's got a good creep to him.
He's still got the creep to him.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the mullet.
No.
Like
no.
Dr. Vink had.
Yeah, Dr. Vink had a solid mullet.
Yeah, his hair was cut, but still had the creep face and the creep vibes, for sure.
I looked up the cast to see what they were still doing, and obviously we talked about some of the kids that sit around from the Midnight Society are still acting.
Yeah.
But the one actor's name's Christian Tessier. He played Josh in this episode. He's been in a ton of stuff to this day.
Oh, okay.
Like he was in...
He did have a picture, as the other two on IMDb did not have pictures.
Yeah.
That's usually a good sign that they're not active.
Yeah, that is a good... Yeah. But he... I noticed he was in Taking Lives with Angelina Jolie.
Oh, okay.
And he was in Day After Tomorrow with Jake Gyllenhaal. They were all small parts, but
right.
he's in legit movies.
Huh.
So that was the only
interesting
thing I had to contribute.
So if that's the only ones we have for Well Hello There, it's a little disappointing.
I apologize, guys.
Yeah. The next category is called Let's Get Digging. That was me, guys. And it's all about the plot and plot holes. And then we also say what our funniest and cringiest parts of the episode are. The plot was a plot.
Yeah. It's a plot.
Yeah.
So he's going to steal a clown nose.
Yeah.
I do like how they don't call it a haunted house.
They call it a spook house.
A spook
is that
house.
a Canadian thing?
I'm thinking it would maybe be a Canadian thing.
Okay.
Because I have never heard a haunted house or
a fun house. It's like like a haunted house / fun house.
That's a good way to describe it.
Because there was the mirrors, the fun house mirrors in one part.
Because they're essentially at like a little amusement park.
Yeah.
Because it had a legit roller coaster. It didn't look like a crappy carnival one.
Yeah. I wrote down the spook house thing too, by the way, because I'd never heard it called that.
No.
So I did think the plot was better than the first episode, in the sense that, these kids are at the carnival or whatever amusement park, and Ouija.
What a name.
Just, is like, this place isn't scary, and then Ouija is the one that's like, no, that place is scary and it's haunted. And then Josh is like, no, bruh, it's not scary. I could totally go in there and steal a nose.
Yeah.
But they go to the carnival, and then they go home because they have to shoot that scene where Josh and Kathy know everything about this clown guy who stole money, and that whole scene was just
burnt in the haunted or spook house.
It was all exposition, that scene. It was like, here's the background, and then here's Josh going, oh, that doesn't matter. That place is still, like, not that great.
And I'll say that is a believable plot, that some friends would be, like preteens at a carnival and see a spook house and kind of dare one of their friends to go inside and steal
wouldn't
something.
You all go inside? I guess steal something would be that. Yeah.
He's got to come back out with a clown nose or he fails.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they ever... Like, if he doesn't have the clown nose, what happens to him?
He said he was dead meat at one point, and I turned to you, I was like, did they say what would... Like, is there something he would have to do?
Yeah.
Because, it was only... If I get the nose, then you have to wear it for a week at school.
Yeah. But if you don't, he dies?
Ouija will kill him. So...
His options are, I'm either going to be a clown at school, or I'm going to be a murderer. Those were the options.
I was a little confused at the end. So he steals the nose. Mm-hmm. He gets haunted or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or the other suggestion at the end of the plot was that the carny, the creepy carny, goes into his house and plays tricks on him just so he can get the $2 red nose back. Maybe it's just the principle of the thing. Kids should not be stealing from carnival rides, but...
Agreed.
I wasn't sure what to think of the end. Or was he just trying to get some free cigars out of the whole thing?
If you think about it, he didn't take him 1 or 2 cigars. He took him a legit box.
Yeah.
Cigars are expensive.
Yeah.
Probably stole them from his dad. That kid is a klepto.
Obviously.
Stealing clown noses. Where'd you get the cigars, Josh?
Well, we can segue into discussing some of the plot holes, because that was one of my questions.
Okay.
He just appears with a nice big box of cigars. I'm guessing he had to steal from his dad. He's not buying those.
He's not.
Unless he went to the gas station and he told the guy the whole story. I have to give this as a peace offering to the ghost clown that I upset by stealing his nose. And the guy was like, Yeah, I get it, bro. Here, take some.
I would be like, no.
No?
You're not getting a box of cigars. I don't care that you're being haunted, Josh. I'm not going to help your nicotine problem. I don't know that cigars actually have nicotine in them.
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, I don't know. Big plot hole. Where'd you get those cigars, you little klepto?
I also question, why does Josh call Ouija and not at least the police when somebody's clearly in his house trying to...
No, it's Ouija called Josh is what happened.
Ouija called Josh at first, but when he goes upstairs when he's scared,
you're right.
He calls Ouija.
He's like, you're trying to scare me, man.
Yeah. Well, he was trying to rationalize what he was seeing because he saw some cigars in the microwave.
Yeah.
Because this clown smokes cigars. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Yeah. To the point, on the outside of the spook house, there's a gigantic clown face, and it has a cigar in his mouth with smoke coming out. You think about the amount of things when we were kids that had smoking in them.
Yeah, even freaking kid shows, man.
Yeah.
No, they would not have that in 2019. They wouldn't even imply it.
And they sold candy cigarettes.
I mean, those were delicious.
They were. I enjoyed them.
They tasted like chalk. Delicious, sweet chalk.
Delicious chalk.
Did you have any other plot holes?
Josh, his parents go to the theater.
Sure.
They leave him home alone.
Right.
As parents do. Because, let's face it, 1990s parents, neglectful. I think we can agree.
I think it was less neglectful as a slightly different world where parents felt confident that their 12-year-old child would be fine at home. Mm-hmm. You know, they put a little more trust in their children.
True.
Sometimes it worked out, sometimes not so much.
So Josh is going to prepare dinner. Mm-hmm. He's going to heat up some spaghetti in the microwave. And he takes a bowl of pudding out. Which, I mean, let's face it. You have the option of pudding or spaghetti. You're just going to go to town. Huge bowl. He hears a noise and he drops that bowl of chocolate pudding.
Yeah.
On a tile floor. Bowl does not break. Pudding goes everywhere.
Yes. And
that little prick, he doesn't clean up the pudding.
Children.
That's where I was like, hey, get your butt back there and clean that up.
Yeah.
Parents are going to beat your ass.
Also, a clown is going to come in and write Z into it.
And a footprint.
Yeah, you gave them the opportunity to do that.
Freaking Josh.
The only other thing I questioned was, I don't know why the cigar smoke was always purple. I think they were just trying to make it seem spookier, I guess.
Maybe they were cigars marketed towards Prince.
Yeah?
It was all about the purple smoke.
That's true.
Probably tastes like crap. Cigar. Didn't taste good. Purple smoke.
I was like,
cigar?
I think your cigar would bad, sir.
Yeah. You might want to take that back.
What was your funniest part of the episode?
For the life of me, I can't remember what happens to set this part up, but Josh takes off chasing after Kathy. Like that's his friend. They run out of the house, and she makes like a beeline over towards the trash can. And she grabs the lid of the trash can and turns, and Josh runs into it and bam, smacks his head off him. And she's like, don't mess or you'll bump your head. Like, it's so...
There's some doozies and some insults in this that I want to talk in the 90s section, but...
Some good cutdowns.
I did put that as my funniest, but for a slightly different reason, because the horrible acting between... Josh hitting, and I'm using air quotes, the lid and falling down was so bad. I will say the thing that set it up, I'm not quite sure what Ouija said, but Ouija and Kathy are brother and sister. And it was right after they tell Josh all about this clown who stole money and then he died and he haunts that place, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And Kathy says something and then Josh goes, I'm going to tickle you or something. I'm not sure. Oh. And then he starts chasing it like he's in a tickler.
Okay. That's
a little creepy.
Yeah, a little creep.
A little creep. But that was also part of my funniest moment. What was your cringiest?
We kind of mentioned it when Ouija calls Josh, and he's essentially trying to get out of having to wear the clown nose to school for a week. And the conversation that they have is like they've never spoken to one another. Ever. So it was just really painful. It was bad acting more than anything.
For sure.
What was yours?
Just the whole, and I've mentioned the scene before, but it was just so bad, was Ouija and his sister discussing the backstory of Zebo. Because they're trying to show Josh, no, there's a reason you should be scared of this place.
Yeah.
But they're doing it in such a monotone way. And I was like, okay, we get it. You know a lot about this clown.
Mm-hmm.
Just backstory upon backstory.
Yeah. And I think it's a show for kids. Kids don't care about backstory.
You just
Speed it up.
It's a clown.
Yeah.
That's why you should be afraid.
It's a clown, and he's creepy. Boom. I'm sold.
Yeah. Done.
You
don't have to say he's creepy. I can already assume that part.
Because if you think about it, right around the time this episode came out was when it came out.
Yeah, that's true.
We've already established years ago that clowns were creepy as hell. Now we have a movie out that's all over TV. Creepy as hell. Guess what? Clowns, creepy as fuck.
Right.
Boom.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to our next category?
Yes. And I'm just going to go, woo, woo, red flag alert. It's where we say whether or not there were any signs that these kids are just going to be statistics. Statistics, I can't talk. In a ghost story. And what did you notice?
I will say I didn't find as many as I did last week.
Yeah.
But there was a couple.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, they walk up to the spook house.
Mm-hmm.
And just continuous creepy clown laugh.
Yeah.
On a loop.
Get out, kids.
Do not go in there.
No.
Or if you do, go in a large group. And don't steal something.
Yeah. And
Josh.
When Josh goes in to said spook house, he encounters the usual little things that are going to try to scare you. But then he comes up to, all of a sudden, a dragon pops out.
Uh-huh.
Which then starts breathing actual fire. That's dangerous.
That is a fire hazard.
Yeah. And he's inches away. This is for children?
Somebody's getting
burned
burned.
him.
Yeah.
Could have burned him. Where's the fire marshal?
Burn him.
Burnt him.
The second red flag for me was just the carny with the creepy southern drawl.
As you would expect.
Trying to convince Josh to go into the spook house. That's a big red flag too.
That's very true.
It's very creepy, man.
Because when you think about it, you go to Disney, right? They have this little attraction called Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
There's nobody outside trying to talk you in.
That's true. Sometimes there's a person there hanging out. They
just invite you to step all the way into the dead center of the room.
This spook house, too, I had an issue with it. It was not scary at all.
No.
Other than, I think it was the implication that there could possibly be a ghost clown was the scariest part about it.
Yeah.
But I think as a kid, you kind of psych yourself into thinking those are real.
Mm-hmm.
It adds to the experience, I guess. But
I agree with you, though. It was not scary. There was just essentially mannequins in this with eyes that would light up. And the kids were running around, the actors, running around terrified of said, essentially a mannequin.
But, I will say there is something, and I know we mentioned this a couple minutes ago, but, kids are easily scared of things. We talked about just being afraid of the dark.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go into, a dark place with, jump scares coming out, that itself is scary. I think that's the only reason people still go to, haunted houses.
Yeah.
But in the back of your mind, this isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
As Josh said, it's just a dummy.
It's
just a fake dummy.
Yeah.
Also, when the creepy carny goes, it's the most fun in the park when you're laughing in the dark.
And he says it multiple times.
Yeah.
Hey,
creep.
Hey, creepo, there's a roller coaster right over there. That looks like more fun.
Yeah. Don't go in the spooky house.
Yeah. I've laughed in the dark. It wasn't that fun. Very overrated.
Did you have any other red flags?
No, that was it for me.
Okay. The next category is called, when was this made again? A reminder of everything 90s. Because, of course, the show is made in the 90s, so there's just quite a bit. As far as fashion, what did you notice?
Our main character, Josh, rocking some nice Reebok pumps.
Yeah.
Which were hugely popular. So, but I noticed those. What did you notice?
I did notice the time he actually goes into the spook house the first time to steal the nose. He's wearing a really baggy long sleeve shirt, but it's tucked into what I could only tell was basketball shorts.
Yeah.
Is that something kids did? Tuck their shirt? Did you ever tuck your shirt into basketball shorts?
The only time was when I played in a basketball league, and you had to wear your shirt tucked in.
Okay.
Like, that was part of...
But you're on a basketball court.
Yes, I was on a basketball court.
You're not going to a spook house.
I was essentially wearing his wardrobe. Reebok pumps, basketball shorts, and a shirt that was way too big for me. I noticed his friend Ouija, and let's talk. What kind of name is Ouija?
I don't know.
And I looked it up. It's spelled Weejee.
Yeah.
Is that a family name?
I don't know.
Your great Pappy Ouija?
Ouija.
Passed it down?
I don't get it. Everybody else has normal names. Yeah. Josh, Kathy.
I was like, last episode, there was Buzz.
Yeah.
Who names their kid Buzz?
The McAllisters.
Yeah. Aldrin.
That's true.
Lightyear. His great pappy John Lasseter named him Buzz Lightyear.
Anyway.
But he, back to the actual point of this, was Ouija was wearing, like you mentioned, kind of an oversized shirt, and he was wearing pleated shorts.
Really?
And yeah.
I didn't notice that.
They were awful looking. Like, you're going to a fun house and you're wearing that? You weirdo?
I did like Kathy's bangs.
Yeah.
They're really 90s. I had some of those. And just her really slick back ponytail with just her short, voluminous bangs.
Yeah. And her shirt she was wearing in one of the scenes, it was just kind of divided into 4 squares, but they were like really bright colors. So 90s.
Very, very 90s. That was all I had. Do you want to move on to dated references?
Mm-hmm.
Or offensive jokes?
Yeah, not so many offensive jokes from me.
I don't know if we're going to find a lot of offensive things in this show.
I think we could, because there's just things that won't age well.
That's true.
I noticed Ouija's bedroom, which was really hockey themed.
Yeah.
Down to he had a hockey goal in his room.
Sure.
But then he had a poster on his wall, and it had Phil Simms, who was a football player from like 1990.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's when this was filmed, so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no. But it's dated.
It is.
Yeah.
I just wrote down all of the cool comebacks Josh, or insults Josh would say. My favorite was twerpy chicken.
That was my favorite, was twerpy chicken.
And just the word twerp.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody
and,
ever uses that.
I heard doofus thrown out.
Doofus, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Josh grabs a baseball bat out of his closet, I think.
That sounds right.
He's like, somebody's going to get beamed. And the word beamed, I feel like, as hitting is kind of dated.
Well, and beamed in baseball is when you get hit with a pitch.
Yeah.
So he's not beaming anybody.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I remember using it, like, beamed as, like, getting hit.
Yeah.
And I know it's a baseball term, but, like, just in general.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not, you're not going to go, I'm going to beam you, man. Whoa, calm down, brah.
Brah? Yeah. Did you have any technology?
There was some sweet strobe lights used in the spook house. And then the phone that Josh uses to call Ouija and vice versa was a really nice portable telephone that had like a massive antenna.
It was
on
huge.
It was good.
I love just watching stuff and seeing how big some things were. And then thinking back to when I was using that stuff at the time and thinking, this is so cutting edge, you know?
Because we had a portable phone like that where it was huge and you had to pull out the antenna to like 97.
Jeez.
Yeah.
The only thing I noted down in this section was that, again, I'm going to talk about the scene where Ouija and Kathy have to tell Josh all about the history of the spook house, but they used newspapers. They just had all these newspapers lying around with all the information. Yeah. And I just wondered, do one of you guys have this, like, ultimate fascination? You got these from your room, or is it your parents that have this fascination?
Yeah.
Where did you get all these newspaper articles?
There was no Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even, like, there's movies set in the 90s that I'll watch. They'll go to the library and find, you know.
That would have made more sense, because they usually have down in the stacks, like, the books of just newspapers where they could have found something like that.
Yeah.
But no, they readily had it available.
They're like, let me tell you, I got everything.
And it's not so much a piece of technology, but the doorknobs in this all the doorknobs in Josh's house were painted white, but they were on, like, an oak door.
That's weird.
Very weird.
You notice things very specific sometimes.
And he had a crystal doorknob on his door.
Well, it was probably like a plastic.
Yeah.
I feel like I had one of those in one of my houses that I lived in as a kid.
I just remember my best friend growing up had a basketball doorknob.
Nice.
That was fancy.
Were you jealous?
I was. I wanted a freaking basketball doorknob. It was fancy as fuck.
You would.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to the next one?
Yes. As you're aware, on Ruining Our Childhood, it's always award season. Never not award season. We give out 2 awards, the first of which is the Kel Mitchell Award for Exceptional Overacting. Who did you give your award to?
I gave mine to somebody that didn't so much overact as they were just kind of there.
Uh-huh.
And it was Ouija.
Ouija.
I don't even know how to explain he just talked. He wasn't acting. He was just monotone. And then that part that I talk about where he's giving all the exposition of the episode, he just sounds so fake. Yeah. Or almost like a news announcer. Like, that's too much information for a child to know.
Yeah, you're 12, bro.
Yeah.
Simmer down now.
The only exception I will say was he sounded better on the phone when Josh calls him scared in his bedroom, thinking that maybe he's playing a trick on him. And he was a little more emotional, I should say. And he was like, oh, what's going on? Who's that? Because he could hear the clown threatening him on the phone.
Yeah. I went the other way. I gave it to Mr. Josh. Because if you're the focus of the episode, I feel like you should be able to act better. He was, like you mentioned, he very much overacts. All of his interactions with his friends don't seem natural at all. And I just, I didn't think he was bringing much to it.
The next award is the Kenan Thompson Award for just doing the best under the circumstances. Who'd you give yours to?
I gave it to the creepy carny Aaron Tager, who ironically I'm pretty sure I gave my award to last week, because I thought he did play a great creepy carny. That was my
He's definitely got the face for it.
He's got a face for being creepy. Who did you give yours to?
I gave mine to Josh.
What?
Because everybody was horrible in this.
They were.
It's just straight trash.
Straight trash.
And he at least acted with a little bit of emotion. He said a lot of stupid things. It was kind of entertaining. He talked to himself a lot. He let that inner monologue out. Which I notice they do in a lot of 90s, like, kids' movies. Like, they're like, just say what you're doing. Yeah. Because nobody's going to understand what you're doing. Because you, as a child actor, cannot convey emotion, apparently.
That's
valid. So you just walk around and say, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
This is scary.
Yeah. I'm scared.
I don't know.
This is scary.
He said a lot of dumb stuff. We talked about it already.
Yeah.
He had some great comebacks of all time that we should bring back. Like Twerp. Twerpy chicken.
He said lame ball at one point.
Yes, he did say lame ball.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those were the awards.
So moving on to our final thoughts, would you give it the enthusiastic Betty Ann thumbs up, or would you give it more of a reluctant thumbs up, a la Eric?
I'm going to give it an Eric reluctant thumbs up. It was slightly better than the first episode. I thought the whole plot was a little more executed.
Yeah.
But it just somehow seemed to be kind of rushed at the end where he was just like, I'll just take the nose back at night, even though some creep might be following me, but I'm going to go back to where he originated at night in the dark.
Yeah.
Go to your friend's house, man. Go to your friend's house.
Go to your parents.
Find your parents.
Tell your parents what you
did.
I
guess maybe they can't call the parents because it's 1990.
Them to come home.
But there could be a murderous clown inside the house.
That's true. That is true.
You know? The clowns are super scary, but I felt like this was Betty Ann's story, by the way.
Yes.
Somehow just made clowns not that scary because they never really show... They don't even show a clown moving.
All they show is the animatronic.
That's not even that scary.
Yeah.
And then they show the smoke a lot. Perhaps he's around the corner, but you're just going to see the smoke.
Yeah. I could see myself, and I also give it a reluctant Eric thumbs up. I could see myself as a child giving this a Betty Ann thumbs up.
Yeah.
Clown's creepy. But I feel like they took something that actually probably isn't that bad of a plot, and they didn't execute it very well.
Yeah.
Like clowns, scary. Haunted house, scary. But like you said, you don't have an actual clown.
Yeah, you have the dummy clown, as Josh called it. But I guess maybe that's why they're trying to imply that the carny is the one that was in his yard, which honestly is way creepier than thinking a ghost clown did it, is some middle-aged carny guy following you home.
Yeah.
And stalking you because you stole a $2 nose.
Very true.
You know?
Very true.
If you really think about it, it's scarier than through adult eyes because you're going... Apparently, you shouldn't let your kids go to the carnival, or otherwise some middle-aged creepy guy is going to follow him home and harass him.
Touché.
So, yeah.
I agree. That is more scary.
It is.
Yeah.
Very.
Very much so.
But to a kid, definitely clowns. That's all you have to say is clowns, and you're like, no, thank you.
No, thanks, bruh. No. Hard pass.
So, another one in the books.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to... say things?
Yes. We ask that you give us a review and maybe a subscribe over on the Apple Podcast app or whatever program that you're listening to us on.
Yeah. There's a new one called Podchaser. We're on there. It's almost like Facebook meets podcast. You can like create lists, or I should say, honestly, it's a little more like MySpace with podcasts because you can join and do like a top 8.
Very nice.
Podcasts, yeah. And we're on there.
Nice.
And you can leave a rating and a review if you want. But definitely, if you can do it on Apple for this podcast and our original podcast, that would be awesome. And you can follow us on Instagram at Ruining Our Childhood, where Instagram and Facebook, where you can catch the Betty Ann thumbs up and the reluctant Eric thumbs up.
Yes. And you made those into GIFs. So you can actually, because I don't know that we can honestly do the Betty Ann justice. It is the best thumbs up that you will ever see.
It is great.
Like when you send your friend a GIF of a thumbs up, I cannot explain to you how much injustice you are doing because you don't know about this Betty Ann thumbs up. It raises the game. So good.
It's so good.
So good.
Also, you can follow us on Twitter at ROC Movie Podcast.
Correct.
So that's it for us, guys. We'll catch you next week with another episode of...
Are we still afraid of the dark?
Are we?
Question.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.